Everyone wants to feel like they have that freedom, that time freedom, that financial freedom, that money freedom. But that freedom comes at a cost. And it's not commonly talked about, but we're definitely going to get into it today on this episode of the MadeHerselfABoss podcast. Make sure you stay tuned.
Break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. I'm telling everybody. All right. Welcome back to the MadeHerselfABoss podcast, all about mastering methods and mindsets to making more money in your business. And today it's all about the fun of freedom. And it comes at a cost, like we could have said. And the first cost we're going to talk through with you today is the cost of staying stuck, right? A lot of us will get into a place of stuckness and sit there and allow it to run our business. But good friend, listening to we can't allow that, right? Sometimes you may be thinking that you are maybe saving money to an extent, but you're missing out on opportunities to allow more flow into your life. But when you're sitting in it, you can't see that, right?
Not at all. So I like that you brought up the cost of it, right? The financial cost. As we were kind of getting into a conversation the other day, we know when you really want to do something, when you're clear on where to spend that money, when you're very much unstuck on where you want that money to go, we can always find a place to get it.
Right.
I'm going to call myself out. I was sharing a story about myself, right? I first moved out of my parents' house and I had nothing, no furniture, nothing, right? As soon as a coworker was like, oh, let's go to Miami for Memorial Day, I bet I got really unstuck and unfortunately prioritized going on this trip over my furniture, which obviously would have benefited me in the long run. Further pushing back my goal of being comfortable. So even using that metaphor of where we want to be in our business, comfortable in our business, but are we prioritizing what it's going to take to get there, or are we just getting distracted because we're stuck on that, so it's easier to go this way?
Yeah.
Is that something that we're doing? And it's definitely something that we have to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, sidebar, that shows you that we truly can afford anything we want, and then some. Like Bree said, she hopped herself right onto Miami. I mean, some people probably put Beyonce tickets on Florida. I mean, I'm just saying. But we all afforded it and weren't stuck doing it, right? Right? But how long are you willing to stay stuck and unclear about it, right? Not necessarily in the example Bree gave, but in your business, right? So when you are unclear on how to move forward, or unclear on your basic foundational business that you talk about often, your audience, the problem you solve, and the solution that you're providing. When you don't know those things, everything else after that makes no sense. You can't think about the content or the marketing or your messaging. Nothing is connecting because you're in a place of stuckness because you're unclear. Or you can be stuck and it allows you to just sit in that. Stuck energy is no money making energy. And we don't want you to be in a place of that. And that's what freedom is costing you. Right now, it's costing you peace.
So, no, that's definitely good, Shy. I mean, so what's another thing that it's costing, that it does cost, unfortunately, I can't even say unfortunately, but another cost of freedom is when you're doing things alone. So a lot of, we've been there too, ladies, so don't feel bad, but a lot of women come to us and they seem to have what we call the superwoman syndrome. You want to do it by yourself. You feel some sort of pride even, or, you don't even want to let yourself be helped because you want to do it by yourself. You don't think that someone else is going to appreciate it as much as you, or do it the way that you would do, or whatever. And that's all good and fine. It's really not. But that's all good and fine. But that's costing you being able to actually get the money that you deserve in your business. Why? Because you're spending too much time working in your business instead of on your business. And as Shy loves to tell our ladies, and I think it's so smart, there's always methods and places to find some help. If you don't enlist the help of your family members or friends, or maybe some high school or college students somewhere that'll do something for cheap, definitely figure out what those tasks are. Those small little minuscule tasks that don't necessarily generate money in your business, but are still some things that just have to get done. Those are the things that you want to still self-deal.
Yeah.
And leave yourself to the money-making task, which is, hopping on a call with someone to solidify that stamp. Things that you actually have to be present for. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I remember one time I was saying about So, I'll say like DIY. I think it's good for sometimes where you can be.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to upgrade as we elevate and want more for ourselves and our business to do more. But I feel like that's what point in time when you were saying that sometimes the DIY that helps us elevate.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So that is an exception.
Right. The one exception.
That's definitely an exception. So as you know, there's the different business models. There's the done for you, done with you,
Yep.
And then the DIY business model. So what that is when you say that you're investing in a course or a training or just some sort of product where it's laid out for you. You're still doing it yourself, but you still manage to save the time that other person has done the research for you. They made the mistakes for you already, and they laid out a plan. And so even though you're still doing it on your own time and your own, and the way that the time frame that works best for you, a lot of people have taken that think work out of it, still allowing you to jump steps ahead.
Yeah.
Than still technically doing it alone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. And that's the one exception to the rule.
Good one.
We want you to elevate. We want you to elevate. We want you to elevate. And doing it alone, which is a huge cost to your freedom, ultimately to burnout. It leads to frustration. And we don't want you sitting at a level or energy of that. Because when you are there, guess what? You have no access to. I'm gonna get deep. You have no access to God. You have no access to joy, love, peace, which is the highest of the highest of energies and vibrations, right? We want you to be able to be creative and to be excited about what you're doing and who you're serving. So we don't want you to do it alone. And also, this right here, proximity. You want to get a proximity to somebody because that will push you forward. You don't have to do it alone. You can do all the things you don't like doing with your girl right next to you, right? Because you're not alone. There's somebody in community that gets it and understands. And you can bounce off ideas, some things that you're not really thinking of because you're in the trenches with it, she can think of. So really think about proximity to people, as that's going to help you get to the goal faster than you can alone. So another cost that your freedom is costing you is doing it alone. So we talked about the cost of being stuck, the cost of being alone, and now we're going to get into the cost of not having a clear plan.
Ooh, that part. That part. All of these things are important, but I would say that is probably like the base, the foundation. If you're not clear, what are you doing? Like, just answer that question. What are you doing? You know that you have a product to sell, a service, but do you know anything else? Like, what are you really doing? Right. If you don't have clarity. So let's get into it.
And clarity helps you move into the alignment to the things that you're desiring, helps you forward think, right? I know a lot of times we talk about thinking ahead, embodying who you desire, where you want to be already today versus 10 times later. So when you have a clear plan, you can think through those things. You can think through, okay, I need help now. Let me get a college intern today that can soon turn into my first employee later. You see how that transition?
I love that.
That was a good transition. So you need to think about, but you would have never thought about it if the plan wasn't clear enough for you to have.
Right.
So we really want you to be intentional on how you're thinking. And also think about how many opportunities may you have missed because you weren't clear. Clear on your foundational pieces, clear on your vision, clear on how you want to execute it, clear not even asking the right questions, and sometimes not even knowing what questions to ask because you weren't clear. So you see how not having a plan can lead to disarray, stuckness, feeling like I got to do it alone, frustration, all the things.
Anywhere with it. Just mad for no reason.
Right, mad for no reason. And the clarity is so important. Which is why we start at our Bossy Picnic event with that first thing, clarity, mindset. Free your mind is the first session, right?
I love that.
You got to free your mind before you can even get to the plan. And that's why we want to make sure you guys understand how clarity and having a plan is so important for the quality.
Yes. So we can just go on and on and on about the conversation, right? All these costs, things that the cost to be able to get to the freedom. But we have to go to a commercial break. We'll catch you on the other side, and we're going to continue to talk about this.
Yes.
If you were there last year, you already know it was unforgettable.
I am just so grateful to be a part of the Bossy Picnic today. One of the biggest takeaways is the sense of community and how important it is for us to collaborate and to connect and to encourage one another.
Really enjoying it. It's really informational. I feel like the ladies are really helping us to really think about ourselves and what we or how we can contribute to the community, and also to think about business ownership.
I'm really enjoying the Bossy Picnic. There's some things that I really need to dive deeper in my relationship with money and my business, where I want to see it go.
Now, if you missed it, this is your moment. RSVP for your seat.
All right, welcome back to, I almost called it the Bossy Picnic podcast. Welcome back to the MadeHerselfABoss podcast. As you can see, we are outside in the garden in promotion of the Bossy Picnic. Fun fact, our first podcast thing was actually in the garden.
It definitely was.
In promotion for the same event, right? And you guys loved it so much, we decided to continue. We switched up our mics, we hope you can hear us a little bit better. But back to the conversation. So what's another cost and a point of free?
I think, I guess none weigh more than the other, but I want to say biasly that this one will. I feel like the cost of self-doubt. Because when we don't believe in ourselves enough, and know that the word believe has the word lie in it. So when we don't believe or embody what we believe about ourselves enough, then everything else doesn't even matter. All the other costs, I just feel like they just go away. They go away because it doesn't really matter. Think about the times and decisions that you made because you didn't believe in yourself enough, about how you underpriced yourself. When, I think about the times when I myself didn't believe in myself enough that I undercut myself a lot, right? So think about the times you may have did it because you didn't believe in yourself or your offer enough to even project it. Some of you guys are in so much self-doubt that you don't even promote yourself. You don't even know what you have for us.
Because you're just stuck in your self-doubt. I think that's really deep because for a lot of people, it's a subconscious thing. Yeah. They don't even realize that they're doubting themselves. They're actually not showing up. They're not promoting. They're not talking about it. They're not even performing the service that they do really good, like at their highest potential. And don't even realize it because they don't realize that they have some doubt. They actually don't see themselves, being on the next level and see themselves being, I love that when we talk about being.
Yes.
They don't see themselves being that person that it requires to get to that next level. I think, it's a nice thought. Y'all, I want to be rich. I want this, I want that, or whatever. But are we being that? Do you believe that you on a subconscious level?
Yeah, and I think back to what you were saying, I think the vision boards are nice and writing down yourself in future tense is beautiful, right? It's necessary. But if you are not embodying her, whoever that her is, then it's not truly going to happen. And if you're not dealing with why am I feeling this way? And Brittany threw herself about Miami and bus. I'll throw myself under the bus. So I currently working through, but I've had a really hard time always seeing myself the way God has always seen myself. Yes, I am brilliant. Yes, I can map out any strategy for you. I can help you make money. But sometimes there are those quiet voices that can get really loud and I am not seeing myself that way, right? So that can play into maybe how I show up, maybe opportunities when I'm in the room, I dim my light. There are ways and there are times where I have done that. So self-doubt is a huge thing that a lot of us have experienced when it comes to the freedom we're desiring. We never really get to it if we don't handle that. So I have a question. Besides really understanding and acknowledging, okay, I am having self-doubt in this area or in this thing, right? What would you say would be the next step besides recognizing the issue that I need to really start working?
So after that hard step of just recognizing the issue, I think we have to evaluate. You can recognize it, but what's going to keep you from going that way again? Like that's evaluation. So you have to self-evaluate. Why do I feel like I can't make it here? Why don't I honestly deep down and see that for myself? Why am I not pushing myself to that potential? And, once you identify it, realize that it's okay, go through all the forgiveness steps, seek the help, get the help, invest in the help, journal, do all those things that kind of sound cliche, but actually work for real. And then just take it one day at a time. That's a lot of unlearning, especially if it's on a subconscious level. So honestly, one day at a time, show up as your best. Make a decision. Fake it till you make it sometimes. Oh, I don't know if I can do this, but let me just put this out there anyway. Hit the button and hold out, and see what happens at the end of the day. Yeah. And even, a lot of people might like to make it seem like once you put yourself out there, it's always going to be roses. It's not all the time. So also to build up a resilience too. That if things don't work out, I'm going to learn from the experience, but I'm not going to like let it push me back into my shell.
Yeah.
So, because so many things I could call it: accountability, assessment, action.
All
Like,
of
there's
that.
so many things into that one step after you realize that that's you. But yeah, you have to do all that and just be honest about it.
Yeah, I think that's good. One thing Bree told me to do one time when I was just talking to her about a personal matter is going to the part where you were in that feeling of, okay, I don't feel like I can do this. What's stopping you from getting to that point? When you get to that feeling, like, what's stopping you, making you want to revert back to not believing in yourself, or revert back to whatever the thing is? Like, catch yourself in action so you can redirect yourself. So that's something Bree always tells me to do. So that's something we're telling you to do.
I tell it to her to tell it to myself.
How it's all reciprocal. It's all reciprocal.
Yes.
We're all in this thing called life here, right? And as you take heed to that, going into our next cost that is costing you, right? Waiting for the perfect time. I think sometimes we allow perfectionism.
Yeah, this is
to paralyze us. And we're sitting on so much stuff versus just putting it out there and letting people see us for who we are and going forward any day.
Perfectionism, like, what is that for real? Like, it's just a curated way to present
Say
yourself.
Yeah.
Say stuff. But honestly, and you know, a lot of our ladies, we are service providers. A lot of us are one-on-one service providers. And people want to invest in you and they want to trust in you. And yes, you want to present yourself in like professional and everything like that, right? But be a little vulnerable. Be honest so that people can actually get a chance to know who you are and what that means for your brand and what sets you aside from everybody else who's kind of doing similar things. You can think you're unique, but these things have been done before to the side, right? But what sets you aside? How do you do it? What's your particular story that that makes it different, that really speaks to someone's soul? And it's okay to share that a little bit.
Yeah.
So being perfect, I say just go ahead and get started. We are outside in the garden right now. Didn't know that there would be all this things going around. There's people, there's construction, there's all this stuff, but we are making it work. And bringing to you the best quality possible, right? Because we care, but we're bringing it to you right now. We kind of want you to have that attitude about your brand and your business and your communication as well. Like, hey, this is me. I'm determined. I'm going to bring you the best that I got.
Yeah, need a bakery.
Right. Oh, what's Mariah Carey's thing? That was my thing for the year. I'm going to do the best I can with what I got. You need to carry that attitude with you the rest of 2025 and beyond, okay?
Yes. I love that. So throughout this entire episode, I'm sure you have learned a lot of costs that you are desiring. And we have been the living example in this episode on how to keep pushing through no matter what you're experiencing and the outside world, right? The cost of being stuck, the cost of doing it alone, the cost of, I would say the cost of fear, all the costs that we done broke down today.
And the list can go on. Let's just address these.
Yes. So please take heed. Check the notes below. We have some links for you so that we can help you. And don't forget, as we're in this beautiful setting, we want you to be at the Bossy Picnic this year. It happens in September, but your experience actually starts when you register. We are making sure you guys are getting clear so that you can get paid, period. In an amazing setting with less distractions, but with an amazing setting with amazing women so that you can truly know the stopping from the growth so that we can truly help you grow. So that is happening September 5th. But again, your experience starts as soon as you register. Surprise.
Yes. Make sure that you go ahead to thebossypicnic.com. Follow the Bossy Picnic on Instagram. We have a lot of answers to your questions that we know that you have. And we're happy to just see you in the outside room. So until next time, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.
Right now, babe, try to be fine, but I can't, babe. Not in my mind, what I need.